I've heard some say that ignorance is bliss, and I suppose that can be true, at least up until the very moment that the roof falls in on you. Well guys, the time has come and the need is getting quite dire that I need to do something with this monstrosity back here with me. So come along, take a look, we'll see if we can get this wall replaced. If you want to call it a wall, I don't know. So this building, originally being a granary, would have had double sliding doors. The track is still on the outside, and indeed when I moved in, it had the big old double sliding doors. Now they didn't keep animals or weather or anything out anymore. They're in pretty bad shape. But there were doors there, and at the other end where I have my little roll-up door, there were doors, sliding doors in that cutout. That's another matter, and hopefully someday soon that'll get replaced. I would like a 10 by 10 roll-up door there. We'll see what happens with that. But that's not the issue right now. This patchwork quilt effect, like the worst, a drunken Amish woman must have made this quilt. Okay, that doesn't happen, but strike that, okay. This thing, it went up hot and heavy when we moved in. I needed to get vehicles a little more secure, keep coyotes and antelopes out, you know, and rain and snow, and it still probably animals animals out, but the other two, probably not. In fact, there is a separate issue up above the track outside, and we'll get into that. When rain from the east, which doesn't happen too often, but when it does happen, water just pours in here. So you can see my bucket in a frail attempt at catching some water. Anyway, so we can see what we got going on here. Here's like a 4 by something framed door, a homemade walk-through door at one point. There's a ventilation fan. It's no longer hooked up, with a rotten door on the outside, so I would have to walk outside to open that. At one point I wanted natural light, which I still do, and hopefully we will get some. But there was a old school wooden framed window there. All the glass and the grill work fell out, and so I just had to cover up that. This once all had styrofoam, but over the years it's fallen out. Termites have had their way with it. Wood burning stove, I like it, especially for the burning of scrap wood from the wood shop. And then I have firewood outside that is mostly, I'm probably burning about 70% termite carcasses when I burn firewood from out there, and the rest is rotten wood. Insurance companies don't even want to insure this building because of that thing, so it is not insured. But I have the cinder block wall there, and then some concrete backer board behind it, and then some ductwork sheet metal, all in a vain attempt at keeping the highly combustible styrofoam and rotten 2x4s behind it from just igniting into flames, which I'm surprised, even without a fire in there, that they just don't go up in smoke on their own. But this is what it looks like in here. At one point I started a half-hearted project of covering it with tin. So the thought is I'm going to do all new wall, build it kind of like a pole barn frame. So I will have vertical sheets of, you know, the commercial or the farm style shed tin going vertically. I'll have a walk-through door, and that is pretty much it now. I want to leave myself open someday, maybe a bigger, smallish roll-up door like I have at the other end of the shop. But for now, just a walk-through door. Now I completely neglected the fact that I wanted as accurate a measurement as of the base of that opening as I possibly can get, which means I need to be working inside, not outside. So while I was happily working away out there getting stuff done, I had to come back in. So I have our riding mower having hysterics all over the floor right now. So I'm going to try to push that back, push our 71 Chevy back, push the Corvair back, hopefully get a little room. I have no idea where I am going to move anything, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, and you know, when I construct this thing, I'm going to do it as much as I would like to frame up the walls on the floor and put them up. I'm going to have to do it a piece at a time. So we don't need a whole lot of room, but we just need room. So these blocks, I don't know. I just kind of want to be done with all of this. It's such a mess and I have no room for anything. And it's not helping. So I think I may leave the stove in here, you know, just leave it and build around it. But I'm kind of leaning towards not using it anymore. When we get back to my wife's garden shed and greenhouse project, when we have the money to continue on that, we would like a little box stove in there. Maybe we can sandblast this and repaint it with some stove paint. Make it look nice for it. And I'll just be on 100% on propane in here. But I'm going to move these blocks for now, and then when we got a hole in the wall, I'll throw them back out back. There you go. Now back here, I know there's termite damage and it's going to be bad. You can see it eking out around the edges of this metal. Now this should be, I thought, southern yellow pine, which really discourages them from doing that, but I don't know, it may not be. Wow. Luckily that's an interior wall, but that's just stupid. I don't know what the sill plate is like down under there. Well, I guess it'll be a viable option to open up that wall even farther now. Now that door opening is 190 3/4 of an inch. So what I'm going to do, my sill plate, in an effort to keep it from rotting again, my bottom plate across the whole original doorway, I'm going to make out of, this is 5x2 steel tubing, and the thinnest wall I could get was 11 gauge, and that ought to work pretty good because I need to be able to run self-drilling screws through there. So I'm going to cut two of those the same length, 76 and 7/8, actually 5/8, because I subtracted for a 1/4 inch because I am going to weld shut, cap shut the ends here, so that I have a nice closed in end on both ends, and you'll see why after a bit. So I'm going to weld these on, and then I'm going to come back and drill a couple holes so that I can run anchor bolts down into the concrete, if I can find any concrete of quality anymore down there anyway. If not, we'll just wing it, you know. But okay, so I'm going to weld two of these up, drill holes, and then we're going to weld a sill plate for our walk-through door in between. Okay, that is that. There's my sill plate span, my walk-through door sill plate. Everything's 5 inches wide, which is a 2x4, and 3/4 furring strips on either side. So that's why I went with 5 inches. 5-inch sill plate for my door, and then I have room enough for a 2x up against, and then a 3/4 inch thick door jamb. So hopefully everything's going to turn out right there. And then this top square tubing is just a temporary brace for me to get it home without bending that 1/2-inch plate all asunder. So that's why I boxed the ends in, so I could weld all the way across, and I flipped it over and weld all the way across. And then on the ends I can squirt some liquid nails or silicone or something and get that nice and sealed up against my shed walls there. So yeah, I am going to clean up here, load this in the back of the truck, and move on back home. Oh. Well, it's 6:30 Saturday morning, and it is my intention to get this thing knocked down and put back up by the end of the day. At least the exterior. Now this thing's pretty flimsy, so I think I can get it knocked down in one shot. Two shots. I guess I'm doing it old school. You know, seeing it now, I wish I had the funds to just add on. But I don't. So, anyway, I have bigger problems than I had hoped and realized. So, I'm going to have to address those first. This may not happen in a day. But as you can see, those little son of a guns were busy. I didn't even want to pull that 2x6 off, but it was completely hollow. And this is what's underneath. Now, I've got this tongue and groove everywhere. And then this is built on 1-inch or 1-foot centers. So I could lose this whole corner, which I already have, and the structure isn't necessarily compromised. There's so much strength in these walls that that's not a problem, but I am gonna have to cut all of that out, at least up to there. I mean, it keeps going a little ways, but oh goodness. don't know why I didn't consider a blue tarp from the beginning. It's pretty groovy. Alright guys, I'm going to show you this real quick just because I don't know how far I'll get on the north side of the opening today. So I wanted to show you kind of before and after pictures. And you'll see this tomorrow. I'll open the tarp completely, take everything down, and hopefully get the wall up tomorrow. But put a little piece of a sill plate down on the bottom. Built the new center post out of two 2x6s, just like it was. Put that up clear to the top where the rot ran, or the damage ran out. Locally, I couldn't get treated plywood. I'd have to go to town, hour and a half away to get that, so I just put regular CD plywood in there. So we'll go around the other side. And you can see up and over the top I've taken care of all the serious damage. There's some things I need to do from the inside up above those grain bin rooms in there, but I can do that later. Just focusing on getting the wall back up, you know. So on the other side, what I'm going to be working on today or this evening, I'm going to cut out this corner of rot just like I did on the other side. I only really need to slice it here. About the size of this square, I guess. And then on the, as far as the actual sill plate goes, it'd be best to cut out a little more. Guess it wouldn't really matter. But we'll put that post in and start going back with plywood, and then we will take a look at it tomorrow. Well, good morning. So it turns out I really don't know what's going to happen today or if this video is going to get done, but it's early in the morning and I'm just going to do what I can do. May end up going to Wichita and visiting a relative in the hospital. We may end up going to a local graduation. We may do none of that. I've got to wait for the powers that be to wake up and give me marching orders. So anyway, I'm out here doing what I can do until then. I brought my metal sill plate in. I was worried about the level because I have this concrete really needs to be cut right about here. Well, actually that side too, because that just slopes down, and I think that never was really good from the beginning. But this needs to be cut out and redone. Not going to do that right now. You can see under the old wall I put some Quickcrete to fill in the gaps. And that's actually pretty good yet. Right under the sill plate I'll have to shim it or do something there. And then over on this end I'll have to put some shims. But it's actually sitting dead level, which was a surprise to me. So, now that my tongue and groove is gone, I'm 1.5 inches too short on this thing. And that's how it goes. So I'm going to have to put in a spacer or two and see if I can find some treated lumber for that. And that's okay. Then we will drill holes, anchor it down, shim it up, seal it on the bottom, and go from there. I'm sorry for the very blue video, but there's not much I can do about it right now. But what I've done, I've laid down my plate, obviously. I put 2 layers of this foam down, this sill plate foam. Just trying to take up all the irregularities in the floor. Then I squirted a big bead of liquid nails under that to take up more irregularities. Not really to hold any, not, you know, glue anything down necessarily, but I could have used silicone too for the same purpose, just to take up gaps. So, yeah, now I think I can cut my tubing off of here, and then I'll get some 2x4s and drill reliefs for the bolt heads. I did not have 6 anchor bolts, and I wasn't going to bother going getting them, so I drilled 1/2-inch holes in the concrete in the center, hammered rebar down in them, and that'll hold it really nice. You know, this thing is never going to try to come up, but the wind will be pushing on it side to side, so that'll help. Anyway, moving on. What you doing? Well, it's been several days since my last update, and just thought I'd show you what's going on here. By the way, my oldest son has been trying to blacksmith, and I made a fire pot several years ago, so he's using that, but he's taken a mower deck and an old table saw legs here and just kind of making a little forge using my vacuum cleaner. That is a very old railroad rail anvil that I inherited, basically, and so he's trying to get something going with coal here, and just having fun. One day I'd like to make back here a blacksmith fop, but anyway, that's not what we're on to about right now. So this is what I've got going on, and looking pretty good, getting everything replaced, redone. It's just taking forever, you know how that goes. But I think I'll set up the camera for the second side and just, I might as well have content with what I'm doing here. I've got to get rid of this tarp. It drives me nuts. So today is Friday. Tomorrow would be the 3rd Saturday that I've been trying to get this done. So basically 2 full weeks since I tore it out and haven't been able to finish it. I've got my basic structure on the south side. I'm going to do the north side with you. Now, all of western Kansas, like the western half, has basically been in extreme drought for well over a year. We've had little bits of rain here and there, but usually when you're out here in this area, you see nothing but lush fields of wheat at this time of year. There's basically none of that. It's been so dry. So we've just been waiting and praying for rain for a very long time. And so I pointedly took off today, Friday, to get this done, just so I'd have a whole day to get it done. And wouldn't you know it, I woke up to the beautiful sound of a good soaking rain. It's raining like crazy. I don't know if you can hear it over the tarp. I'm talking louder, so hopefully you can. And wouldn't you know it, like I said earlier, the breeze, a little bit of a breeze, is from the northeast. So that rain would be blowing right in here. So I don't know what I did to the rain and the wind and the weather, you know. I don't know why it has it out for me here, but I'm not bad-mouthing it. We need it. I will get wet gladly. I'll open this thing up and work in the rain if I have to. So, for now, it's saying the chances of rain start going down about noon, and it's 7 o'clock right now. So I'm going to do everything I can in here with the framing. Then I might even move on to the door and all that, and we'll just get it done here. Any of you ever have these sunflower seeds with the Tapatio hot sauce? They're pretty stout. Anyway, I've messed around all morning, basically done everything I can do with the tarp on. It's still kind of drizzling, sprinkling a little bit, really light out there. Wind is really blowing out of the north or northeast. I'm just going to have to deal with it and do it. So I may have to just continue to give you updates and not have the camera outside. I don't have a dry place out there. I don't have an umbrella to stick on the camera. So anyway, I've got my door pretty well set and adjusted. I've got a special little window up above that I'll get into later. But for now, I'm going to pull this tarp off and get to working outside. Update number 1. My insulation I'm going to put on has a moisture barrier, but I wanted house wrap on the bare plywood that I put on the damaged. So I've got that up. Again, Timmy, stop eating the broom. Update number 2. My wife brought me a Dr. Pepper. No. Well, she did, yes, but update number 2, I have got, I believe, all of my steel edging and trim put up, as good as it's gonna get. If it looks funny above the door, I had the funny idea to do, in this shop I never have any natural light, and especially during the winter it's kind of depressing, you know. I had an old basement window stored in one of these bins. It's from the previous owner. I don't know. It was a steel frame and a wooden window, which I don't like the wood part, but we'll deal with it. But I had the fun idea of making a transom window out of it. So that's what that's all about. Now I'm going to get the insulation out. Hang on the hook here. Come this way. Well, guys, this is the third Saturday in a row. I really hoped I would get this done all in one video. I'm not necessarily, I prove it. I'm not a construction video when I do this stuff. Certainly nothing is common or to code or a proper way of building, but it's just not going to happen. It's Saturday evening again, and I've got a lot to clean up outside. I wanted to at least wash off the tin out there and make it look a little better, but considering everything I have to clean up out there, it's just not going to happen. But everything worked well for the most part. It's nice and solid, a nice solid wall. And I have a door to the outside. A lot of my ideas for this didn't pan out like I'd hoped. The transom window more or less ended up looking goofy, but that's okay. I have a lot more screws to put in. You can see that piece is kind of curled back. That's because I'm not done up there yet. But yeah, I'd hope to wash all this off in this video for you and make it look nice, but that's just not going to happen. So please don't laugh at my tin. I can't handle that kind of rejection, But anyway, and then I've helped put up several all steel buildings, and the way I did the insulation, sandwiching it between the frame and the tin, works so well, when you have a 20-foot sidewall that you're doing. But man, I struggled getting these panels tucked up under my edging. And then squeezing it. It was rather difficult, especially doing it mostly by myself. So anyway, if you guys want to see me come back out here and do something, let me know. I need to finish up the original tin there. I need to rip thinner and put back up. Door hardware, there's a lot more to do. Seal up any holes on this old tin. And then on the inside, I will probably end up putting 3/4 insulation sheets between our purlins or furring strips there, and then putting tin in here. So, but actually this may be just the way it stays in here for a while. I've got to get back up onto that 71 Chevy, get that out of here. I have a lot to do, vehicle-wise. I want to make a mechanism for the transom window. Door hardware, I think I mentioned. Yeah, a lot to do. Then, down below, I've been pulling off the bottom row of tongue and groove and spraying as I go. I've got to continue that till I hit good wood. And kill all those little buggers on both sides. I haven't even really started to do that down here. So next week, that's going to be my next project, is ripping all that back, finding that. And then, unfortunately, I have to make a hard decision about what I'm going to do with these rooms, because now my sill plate's rotten. I hope it stops somewhere around behind the blasting cabinet there, the rot and the termites. So that means my floor joists on this end of the sill plate are rotten, my wall studs on the bottom end are rotten, and all the blocking in between down here is all rotten. So those three or four things there, it's all rot. So right now it's going to have to stay as it is. But in the near future, there's not much else I can do other than maybe cut the wall out, cut the floors out, cement in between the cement piles holding the wall up, and this would all just be open workspace. Well, unfortunately, both those rooms are just packed full up. That room is all my paint stuff, chemicals, hardware. This room is just parts and overflow and where I throw everything. A guy's got no room. So I've got some hard decisions to make, and then that same thing goes on this side. Now, the previous owner opened all of this up before we ever got here, and he did it badly. He cut way too much out, And so this top board here, it's not really, it's kind of a header for our rafters, but this is curved. I don't know if you can tell that on the camera. So I need to get support from my cement pile, or whatever you want to call it, foundation down there, all the way up to there, get that supported. And I've just been putting it off and ignoring it all these years. So, goodness, there's a lot to do here. Now, through this whole project and this whole mess, it has really made me think through and evaluate what business I have of taking on other people's automotive projects. I love doing them, and that's what I would love to be doing, you know. But when a problem like this comes up, the stress level hijacks, it goes way up. And I have to put everything else off, including the family, it seems like, to take stuff like this on. And then I feel like I'm letting customers down, letting the family down, and I'm stressing out because I just have way too much. So just through this whole thing, I've really been evaluating what kind of business I have, taken on extra work, doing restorations and stuff before work, after work, all my spare time. You know, should I just step away from that and focus on my own stuff? I love the extra cash it brings in, but at the same time, I have to always reinvest. It's like doing videos. That the money that comes in from doing those extra projects always goes back in to the shop, to tools, to car parts, so on and so forth. And in the end, I don't have any spare time to enjoy it anyway. So, you know, what's a guy to do? Let me know your thoughts. I'm not whining about being busy, but it's just really got me thinking about what's important, especially right now while I still have kids at home. So, anyway, I'm going to clean this up, like I said, close the shop up, go in for supper. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Let me know if you want to come back with me and see the finish of this project. Why not? God bless you. See you on the next one.